right, let's get started. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jason Flame, host of the Master Motivation Podcast, ready to bring you some motivation, inspiration, and education for your week. Hope everybody is having a great week and looking forward to a great weekend. We've got a great guest today. Let me introduce you to him. This is Gus Lopez. He is the founder of Lead Hunter Media and creator of the Student Attraction Method System, a proven framework designed to help martial arts school owners break through enrollment plateaus. With over 6 years in the industry and more than $1 million in ad spend managed, Gus combines AI-powered systems, sales, psychology, and digital marketing expertise to drive real, measurable growth. He's known for transforming struggling schools into high retention, student-attracting machines. Gus takes a no-fluff, high accountability approach, partnering closely with committed school owners to build scalable systems that work. Gus, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. Listen, I was on a show with you and Ali way back. Like it seems like maybe a couple of years almost. So it's great to have you finally on the show here, and hope Ali is doing well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I do remember that now. We've been like so many guests now, but I remember having you on, and that was a great show. And yeah, Ali is doing well. We're still doing the podcast, more of like a season 2, so I'm excited to be on your podcast now.
Beautiful. And we've got James Dunlop is watching. So thank you, James, for watching. By the way, if you guys are watching live, do us a favor and share the video. Also go over to YouTube and subscribe to Master Motivation Podcast. If you have any questions throughout this interview today, we'd love to hear your thoughts and your questions. So feel free to drop those in the comments. So Gus, let's just get right into it. Let's get started. And first question, you've helped countless martial arts schools break past the enrollment plateaus. What's the number one mistake you see school owners making when it comes to marketing?
Yeah, I think the first thing, there's two big mistakes. Number one is they never get started, which is a big thing where it's like most school owners are like, they market every now and then, right? And so like, that's my biggest thing. There's like a certain group that just like, they'll hold off for 6 months or 12 months and then they never do anything. And for me, as somebody been in this industry, like I really try to push people because to do something, it's better than doing nothing, regardless if you do it yourself or you hire somebody like us, is they need to do something to get the marketing going. And the second thing is going to be the consistency. A lot of school owners think like, hey, I'm going to market for 2 months and then stop for another 2 months and then stop during summer, stop during Christmas. But what we've noticed over these last 6 years is the most successful school owners, they market year round and they market consistently. And that undeniable momentum is what keeps them afloat and what really pushes them forward to start hitting new plateaus. Because as you know, with anything, if you let's just say you start training, you stop for a month, and then you train again, you're killing all that momentum that you get. So you want to build that momentum, and then that momentum is going to compound into getting students, getting more referrals, growing your school. So those are usually the biggest things that I've noticed that are really impactful.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Gus. It sounds like there's a lot of echo. I've got a couple of people saying this. Maybe if you bring that mic just a little bit closer to you, that might help us a little bit. Yeah, I think closer. What do you think, guys? Does that sound a little bit better?
Let me know if this is better. I think there's no echo now. So
yeah, that might be a little bit better. Sounds better on my side for sure. But you hit the nail on the head on two things, right? The number one thing you said was people wait to get started marketing. And I think the reason why is because everyone wants to have the perfect marketing plan, the perfect marketing pieces, the perfect everything, right? And how often do we do that where we're waiting so long because we want it to be just right? I mean, even for this podcast, for myself, in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing, but I said I was just going to go and learn as I went and get better and better, because I can put it off and wait and nothing's going to happen, And then you also said the consistency, super, super important. I mean, just looking at social media as one avenue of your marketing piece, right? If you're throwing up a social media post every once in a while, once a week, you're just going to get lost. It's just not even going to be seen. I mean, I can tell on certain platforms too, if it's a consistent day, consistent time, and over time, just the views start to build up. So, yeah, anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I think those are usually the two biggest things. And let me know if you can hear me better here. If not,
Yeah, I think that's better when it's a little closer to you.
got it. Yeah, I think that the consistency is the biggest thing and getting started, right? And once you can do those things, it's really just about optimizing and getting better. I feel like a lot of people think, and I don't blame people. There's so many options now, right? You see like 50 other Facebook ads with marketing companies, right? So it's a little bit hard. Sometimes owners get stuck in like decision fatigue because they're like, who do I choose? Like I'm trying to choose the best person, and then they kind of get stuck in that indecision. So that's also one thing that I don't blame them, but that's where you kind of have to at least do something and then kind of optimize from there.
Absolutely. Next question. Let's just talk about breaking down the core idea behind your student attraction method system and why it works so well in today's market.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, we've been doing this a long time, and over the years, I've noticed a few patterns on like what are the biggest problems. So when you look at the martial arts industry in terms of running ads, there's a few different problems. So number one is lead flow, right? And number two is lead quality. Number three is getting people to show up. And number four is enrolling them, right? So those are usually the four gaps where people fall short. Either they're getting a lot of leads, but nobody books, or they're getting a lot of appointments, but nobody shows up. So we kind of figured out a way on how to integrate our system with AI so that we can plug all those holes. So one of the things that we've noticed as far as the first issue is lead quality. So what we've noticed is a lot of people were using like lead forms. So I'm sure you're familiar. I'm sure you've read that before, where people go ahead and fill out a lead form. They click on that, they fill out a form, and then they start getting leads that way, right? Now, the problem with that, and the problem why a lot of people have a big issue with lead quality, is because when you use a lead form, Facebook autofills that information for the prospect, right? So, like they click on an ad, Facebook will pull up the customer's information, and it might be like an old email or like an old phone number. I don't know if you ever heard this, like when you run an ad and they're like, hey, I didn't sign up for this, like stop calling me or something like that, right? So that's one thing that we've noticed with the lead forms, which is why we kind of geared more towards building our own sales funnels, where people actually have to go to a funnel, they have to manually input their information, name, email, phone number, and just that alone increases the lead quality, because we're getting people that are doing more work and being a little bit more serious that way. So that's usually the first thing. Then the next thing is the follow-up, right? A lot of people either have no follow-up, like that was one of our biggest problems, is like school owners, we would tell them, hey, we need to follow up, we need to do this, and most of them just didn't have time, or they couldn't get to the leads fast enough, right? So that's where we incorporate our proprietary AI system that actually follows up with the leads for you and has real conversations. And when I talk about AI, it's not just like a basic AI that causes more problems than it solves, right? A lot of people think of AI and they've had really bad experiences with that. Our AI was custom built over the last 12 months, specifically for our clients, for school owners. So you can ask it very complex questions. And we did a demo with this with Ali, right? And he was asking it about ADHD, or he was asking about like all these different questions, and the answers were pretty accurate. So that's another thing, is I think school owners, it doesn't matter if you have automations or how fast you follow up with them. If a lead comes in at 3 a.m, there's just no way you can have a full-blown conversation with them, right? So that's where our AI comes in, and takes care of that for you, whether it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the morning. The AI will answer all their questions, book them as an appointment, and then of course we have another system where if you're having a big like issue with no shows, then we have a prepay system where people can actually prepay before they show up. So those are usually like the 3 biggest problems: is lead quality, which we saw with funnels. Number 2 is the follow-up, which we saw with our proprietary AI system, and then no shows, which we saw with our prepay system, where we can get people to prepay before they even show up.
Mm-hmm. And even at the most simplest form for school owners is tracking those stats and tracking those numbers. I'm always amazed when I'll talk to a client and they don't know how many leads they've had for the month. They don't know how many appointments they've set. They don't know how many intros that they have. So it's really hard to go and do what you said, is to fill in the gaps, because you don't know where the gaps are. So that's a really important part of the process too, is just knowing your numbers and then knowing exactly how you're going to fill those gaps. Now, you've managed over $1 million in ad spend. That's a lot of money, right? And what's one surprising insight that you've learned about what doesn't work in paid advertising for martial arts schools?
Well, we've noticed you have to have a front-end offer. Like a lot of people will have, especially, a lot of the old offers like in the 90s or like the early 2000s, where they would offer like 6 weeks for, $199 or something like that, right? We've noticed that anything over $50 as an entry-level offer within Facebook just doesn't work very well. Like you might get leads, but we haven't seen any like successful campaign that is over $50, which is why we try to stick under that. So that's one thing that I've noticed, is you have to have a clear offer, you have to have a good offer, and you can't just have a big mid-tier offer. Like a lot of these offers back in the day, they were geared towards like referrals and towards Google leads, right? They weren't geared towards paid ads. Paid ads is a whole different platform. Like these are cold leads. These are leads that don't know who you are, have never been to your school, have never been to your website, haven't seen your reviews, right? So you have to build a sales process that reflects that. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is that they have this offer that's worked great for referrals, and then they try to do it for paid ads and it doesn't work, and they're like, oh, well, ads doesn't work. But it's not about the ads, it's about the entry level offer that you're running. So that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed, and that's why we try to keep our offer under that. And we have a list of winning offers as well, but that's one of the things that I've noticed. But also just, again, the consistency aspect of it. If somebody runs ads for 3 months and then they stop for a month, that can kill the whole momentum for the last 3 months. So you have to make sure it's consistent. Even if you lower the ad spend, you have to be able to you have to be able to advertise year round, no matter what. And like I said at the beginning, most of our successful schools do just that.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned this, some of the leads that you're after are people that have never heard about your school, don't know anything about your school. And I think part of that too is in your social media presence of educating the community and consistently posting about the benefits of the program, so that when they do go, they see the ad, they might click on it, go, kind of comb through your Facebook or Instagram, kind of check your reviews to get a better, stronger feeling to make that purchase, right? I mean, because I don't think, back in the day, doing like coupons on pizza boxes, like that was like, the 80s and 90s, that was kind of a big deal, right? And I always thought it was kind of funny because nobody really decides to join a martial arts school on a whim. People don't just see it and go, oh, I'm going to do karate today. You get a pizza coupon and it's Friday night, you're going to buy pizza on Friday night, right? Yeah. But like, people don't just buy a martial arts program on a whim. They'll see the ad, but they're going to want a little bit of reassurance to see, what's going on in the school. What are your suggestions on just getting that information out there, filling your social media feeds with education?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of school owners have the misconception that they just have to pitch. Like, I'm sure you've seen this a lot where you have a school owner and every post they make is like they're special, right? And it's like, hey, we're offering this special, and it's just about the special, but it's not about what are the benefits for the child, or why your school is great, or why you have a great community. So, like, those are some of the things that you have to talk about. So it can't always be selling, but I think my biggest advice is just have something that looks good. Like, your Facebook page needs to look good. There needs to be some content in there. Your website needs to look good. Most people don't have like, if you look at their pages, they're all empty, or their phone numbers are not set up, or their website's not set up on their page. So at least have something presentable when the people do see your ads. Like, they're able to look at a clean page, a clean professional page. They're like, okay, I can trust my child in here because this is a professional school, versus like it being something like not really completed, right? And let me know if I sound good or if I'm still echoing. But if not, I can try to maybe use a different speaker here. But
Okay, let's see what the audience thinks. You guys that are out there watching, let us know how Gus is sounding. Hopefully mine is sounding really strong as well. So let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, right? A student walks by your school, they look in the windows, and it's kind of messy, kind of dirty. Maybe they walk in, doesn't smell very good. Chances are they're probably just going to walk out. They're not going to think twice about it, right? Same thing with your website, same thing with your social media. If they take a look and it looks messy and it doesn't look like it's being, spotty posting, or the posts are just bad, right? They just don't look good and feel good. People aren't going to take a second look. It's like they're just going to keep walking by.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that the perception is everything. Like, the presentation of your school, just having a really clean school, and then having just really clean content. You don't have to have a professional camera. Like, most of these iPhones are really good enough. As long as you have nice pictures and you have again, when people click on the ad, more than likely they're going to go to your website and find a little bit more info. So as long as you have a presentable website, you have presentable social media pages, Instagram accounts. The worst thing is when things are empty, when they try to find your Instagram and you don't have one, or when they try to find your Facebook and you have like one picture in there. They're like, I don't know if I can really trust this school. But then you go and see somebody with a beautiful website with a bunch of pictures, a big page with a bunch of pictures and videos and stuff. That helps the parents and the prospects be a lot more open to considering you, right? Because at the end of the day, you are competing against all the other schools in your area, and if your social media is empty, then people are just going to go with the school that has the best social media. Not necessarily the best, but the most presentable social media. They'll probably choose like top one or two that they want to visit. Like, I know what I was doing when I was trying to find a new school here in San Antonio is I was like, okay, let me look at all these different schools, and let me look at their pages, see how they look, right? Because that's gonna determine me going into it. Because if I find a school with like no pictures, I'm basically taking the risk of wasting my time if I get in there and it sucks, right? So you have to be able to think that way as well, and that's going to help a lot with your ads, because when people click on your ad, they're also going to go to your website, and they're going to look you up as well for the most part. So that's going to help with the ads results as well.
Yeah, thank you. And James, thank you for your comment. He is still hearing a little bit of an echo. I don't know if that's kind of like we were talking about, going my voice coming through your speaker, through your mic. Yeah. Just keep talking really close to that mic. And if you've got another,
I'm gonna try to lower down the volume.
Now we lost you. Now we can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Now there's a huge echo on my side.
Sorry,
guys. We did a pre-talk and it sounded good, so I apologize.
Let me try to use this. Can you hear me better now? Now I'm just using my computer mic. Does that sound better?
Let's hear from the audience, guys. Let me know. I can hear you. It does have a little bit of an echo, but James, Jackie, if you're still watching, let me know. But we'll just keep rolling through this, and we'll see how we go from there. Let's talk about AI. You mentioned it, brought it up a little bit. How are you integrating AI into your enrollment system, and what kind of impact has it had on the results?
Yeah, no, I think that the AI within itself, it's just powerful because not a lot of people know that it's AI unless they ask, right? Like I said, we build it in a way where it's like you're talking to a real person. But the the thing is like most people just can't get to the leads fast enough because it's impossible to try to get to everybody super fast. So one thing that we like to do again with the AI is that it's a 24/7 employee, so you don't have to worry about a lead, an employee following up with the leads, right, and doing all that. Like we've gone through a lot of schools, a lot of big schools with multiple locations, and then we look at some of their staff, and they're just not following up fast enough, right? So with our system, I think just having that thing where it's like, hey, the leads are going to be taken care of regardless if it's Sunday on 8 p.m. or whether it's a random 3 a.m. person, right? Like you know for sure that they are getting the fastest information, and that's really where things are that's really when the lead quality shoots up because when you're responding, like let's just say somebody comes in and they ask 3 or 4 questions and they get immediate answers and then they book an appointment, that lead quality goes through the roof because now they don't have to wait versus try to look at it the old way where people have to wait for your staff to respond and then maybe your staff takes 2 hours to respond and then they take another 2 hours to respond and then they text back and it's like it ends up being like a whole multi-day thing versus the AI response. The customer asks 3 or 4 questions right away. They get their questions answered. Boom, they book an appointment. And that doing it that way is just what I've noticed in today's market where everybody has TikTok brain and everybody's at such a high dopamine levels, right? Is it needs to be fast and it needs to be convenient. You can be the best school in the world, but if you take 3-4 days to get somebody the information that they need to try your school, they're not going to do it. They're just going to go and sign up somewhere else where it's fast and easy and they can just get it done that way, right? So that's one thing that I've noticed that we've noticed over the years is convenience has become king. And if you don't have convenience, if you make it very hard, like for example, we also when we get people in as a lead to our funnel, they have the ability to also self-book their appointment for whatever calendar that they choose. So not only are they instant booking, but also if they don't book right away, the AI is following up with them and 24/7, and then that's also going to help with the booking aspect of it as well, right? So I think AI is great for the automation aspect of it and for the speed aspect of it. However, we integrate the AI, and what we also recommend that the school owner calls them and builds that human connection. I'm sure eventually there'll be that voice AI that does everything as well. But from what we've seen so far, we haven't found anything good enough to replace the actual human aspect and school owner connection. So if you combine the AI aspect of it over text with the personal phone call with that human touch, that's been working extremely well in terms of getting people to, as far as increasing lead quality, as far as getting people to book appointments and getting people to show up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing. Our business is built on relationships and built on human connection. So, as far as that goes, I think nothing tops it. So there's got to be a point where there is that real true connection. But you're right. Convenience is king these days. You know, making things as easy as possible, as streamlined as possible, as consistent as possible, and that's where you're seeing the AI has been a big benefit. Because you're right, there's just a lot of school owners that don't have the proper systems in place. I mean, just right out of the gate, they just don't have the right systems in place to get themselves or to get their staff, and maybe they don't have a staff to get on those phone calls quick enough. You know, if you're getting flooded with a lot of leads, it can be very overwhelming, and you're just not able to do it. But it is important that as soon as we get people interested, that we're getting in contact with them, because if not, like you said, they're going to the next school, they're going on to the next activity. And, you know, it's just very easy for them to move on. You said it, TikTok brain, they need those dopamine hits like right now, like quick. I've seen it, so.
Another thing that I've noticed is, sometimes you have the school owner that does everything, right? So they don't even have time to, on top of everything that they're doing, they don't have time to also be calling a bunch of leads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not calling, but like more of like engaging in the conversation. I still recommend that we all call them, but at the very least, the AI does most of the heavy lifting for them, right? And then we also have school owners, a lot of the old school guys are like, hey, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to beg people, or I don't want to like follow up too much, right? And for those people, it's like, hey, you don't have to. Our AI will do it for you. So like that's a benefit for them, because now they don't have to bother people. It's the AI doing it, and they still get the benefit of getting the increased lead quality, getting more appointments, and getting people to show up as well.
Yeah. Now, can you give me a success story of a school that went from struggling to thriving after working with you, and what specifically helped turn things around for them?
Yeah, I think, we have a bunch of case studies on our website. I think one that I can think of the top of my head was one of our clients that it was in a smaller town. His name's Andrew, and he did a grand opening. He was in a bit of a smaller school, and he wasn't like necessarily struggling really bad, but he kind of went through that initial launch phase, and then he was kind of stagnating, right? And he needed a little bit more consistency, right? And that's where we really turned it up with the ads, and that's where we really went ahead and put in the consistent marketing, make sure he was getting new students a month. And from there, it was just like, it's been an uptrend, for these last few years that we've been working together. So I think as long as we have, and then we of course started adding other things like the AI system, right? Started optimizing things, started adding different platforms. So from there, it's really all about the consistency aspect of things. But again, if you can solve those major issues that people have, which is lead quality, getting the follow-up, and getting people to show up. Some school owners struggle with the sales as well, and we do help with that as well. But we have a whole 6-week platform that has sales training, that has training on retention, referrals. Ali helped me a lot with that, and there's a few other school owner clients that we have with that. But yeah, we have a bunch of other trainings in there as well. So it's not just about getting leads for us; it's about making sure that people are showing up and people are actually closing, right? So we have a bunch of case studies. I wish I could give you like a specific example of how things have gone, but if you go to our website, there's a bunch of client interviews in there, and you can actually hear some of their stories in a little bit more detail. I don't think I did a very good job right now at explaining it, but
Well, the thing is every school struggles in a different area. But I think at the end of the day, your system, from what I'm understanding, helps them to increase their leads, which I don't know of any school out there that wouldn't want to increase their leads unless they're just completely packed. But there's always the option of opening another school, right? And then that second gap of getting people to book, right? And having the systems to make that happen, and then being able to get people to show up and then converting. I'm always a little bit confused when school owners have a hard time closing, because in my opinion, when you have a hard time closing, I think it's because you have a hard time painting the picture of the benefits of your program and what's going to happen, long term. Anybody that's been in the martial arts for a long period of time has seen what it's done for their life. Anybody that's been in the martial arts industry has seen what it's done to change their students' lives. If you can just really nail that down and be able to paint that picture for every client, it doesn't have to be a high pressure sale. It doesn't have to be a pushy situation. It really just has to be a person that can tell a real story of what they're going to see over the next several months, because we've seen it all. We've seen from the 3-year-old that changes in confidence and focus and balance, all these different areas of all the way through adults that have less stress in their life, get a better workout, feeling better about accomplishing things. If we're able to paint that picture, the word sales can really just go right out the door. I mean, I think people get hung up on, well, I got to sell it. I got to sell it. No, you just got to be able to tell. If you can tell the right story for that person and know why they're there and what they want to benefit from the program, I think any one of our programs, if in fact everything is backed up with a good curriculum and a good solid, relationship building, all that stuff in the school once we get them in the door, I think it should be really no problem.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem that I've seen is that you need like an A to Z sales process, and sometimes schools have no process. Sometimes schools have a little bit of a process, like you said, where it's like they tell a really good story, they do this, but like what I've seen that works best in the school owners that do really good in sales is they have an A to C process. Okay, as soon as a student walks in, we greet them at the door, we do this, we do that. The second class, we're gonna sit them down, we're gonna do this. I know one of our more successful clients, Dwayne Brummett, he has an extremely great sales process where he sends like videos, he has an app, he like pre-sells them. Also, the communication during the trial. A lot of people think, and they do this a lot in the old school like BJJ gyms, where it's like you show up and then you just leave and nothing happens. They don't text you. There's no like, hey, book a second class. Like there's no communication aspect of it. So there needs to be like a written down A to Z of like how we're gonna communicate with the trials, like what they're gonna experience, class one, class two, when are we gonna present the offer, right? Like all these things need to be written down, and I feel like most schools that don't have a good sales process and like are not closing, they don't have that. And another big thing that I've noticed is most people are not even tracking their data. They don't know what their close rate is. They don't know how many people are showing up, how many appointments they're getting, right? And how can you improve your sales process if you don't know what it is? So you don't know what your close rate is. So that's another big thing that I've noticed that we also are working on helping some of our clients with, in terms of like making sure they know those numbers, making sure, okay, here are the gaps that we need to fix, and here's how we're going to fix them. So that's been one of the biggest things that I've noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with more schools going digital and competition increasing, what trends do you see shaping the future of martial arts marketing over the next few years?
Yeah, so I've noticed a big shift, especially within these last 2 years, where just marketing has just gotten a lot harder. Like back then, I'm sure you experienced this. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you can just put a random ad up there and you get tons of leads and tons of people showing up. Right now, it's harder, so you have to be better, right? And a lot of people, they just even for me myself, as far as like us as an agency advertising, things have just gotten harder when it comes to ads. There's more competition, so like as far as trends, I see there being more and more competition. Not necessarily more school owners, but more dance studios, more of other after school activities that are going to consume people's time, right? So at the end of the day, when it comes to your marketing, you just have to keep getting better and better and better, and adapting to these things, like I mentioned with the AI, with these other tools that are given to you, right? Because you can either be like, oh, this is too hard and not do anything and put yourself in a really bad spot, or you can be like, you know what, like things are just getting harder. I just need to get better. Let me see what I can do now to make this happen, right? And that's what we've noticed. Like the school owners that are adapting and continuing to get better, continuing to learn, continuing to add more to their marketing, not just paid ads with us, but still doing guerrilla marketing, still doing events, still doing all the other things. Those are the school owners that are going to win. And then the school owners that are just like, oh, this is too hard, just kind of complain about it. Those are the school owners that are going on a downtrend, and it's bad. It might be bad now, but it's going to keep getting worse if they don't turn things around.
Yeah, and you're right. There are a lot more options, right? It's not really about, and I mean, it's kind of really never been about the school down the street. It's dance classes, gymnastics classes, Kumon, religious education, tutoring, extracurricular sports, all the different sports, right? And it's their time and time and money, right? I mean, most families only have so much of either one. So unless we can put forward something in our marketing that says, hey, this is the activity that's going to really change your son or daughter's life. I mean, I think that there's two really important things that every child should learn, right? They should learn how to swim so that they understand water safety, and they should learn how to protect themselves or what to do in a situation. But above and beyond all of that, I mean, there's so many benefits to martial arts. Martial arts kind of has all of it in one. I mean, dance is great. My daughter danced for over 10 years. Baseball is great. My son did that for over 10 years. But there's things in those sports and activities that aren't being offered that is offered in the martial arts. And that's where our marketing should really focus is what makes us a different activity? What makes us so unique? What makes us so special? Why should you spend your time and money here versus somewhere else? Because if we don't, they're just going to go with what all their friends are doing. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what most people do. Oh, my neighbor's playing baseball. Let's go play baseball, And fortunately, that works on our side too. Oh, how did you learn about us? Oh, well, our friends next door have been training here for years, and we've seen this, this, and this. Okay, great. So there is a lot of competition for time and people's income that they're going to spend on these activities. And the same in the martial arts industry. There's now it seems like there's a different mentor or guru or consultant posting every day about their programs, and at the end of the day, like what sets you apart from the other ones? It's one of the very first questions that I ask students, prospective students on the phone is, what made you choose us, over all the other options that were out there? Because they'll usually tell me, I heard about you on Google or I saw you on Facebook. Okay, cool. What made you choose us over everybody else? And the number one answer is the number of great reviews you have. So let's talk about reviews and getting reviews for our platforms. Do you guys do that as part of your process or part of your services?
Yeah, I mean, within our software, we have this review tool where we can send people to fill out Google reviews. But you're right. I think the biggest thing, like when we started seeing this shift in the market these last 2 years, and then we just see like our example, like 50 other agencies all saying the same thing in ads. Then I'm just like, okay, how can we overcome this, right? Because we're not gonna just overcome this by saying something different. It's we have to be the best. We have to create something that's different. We have to solve their problems and really get amazing results. So as far as reviews, yeah, those are definitely much needed. I think you can get a lot of reviews. We have this campaign that it's called a Google review campaign, and if you guys are watching and you want it, feel free to comment reviews below, and I can send you our Google review campaign. We have this campaign that we send out that we get about like 50 to 100 new Google reviews from our school's clients, right? And it's something simple. You can just raffle like a $50 or $100 gift card, and then we can just say, hey, we're doing a contest. We're doing a contest for the next 7 days. We're trying to hit 50 reviews, 100 reviews. Anybody that's come into the studio that does a review, you'll get entered into a raffle, and then you pick a winner at the end, and by the end of it, you're going to have another 50, 100 reviews. If you have, of course, enough people coming into your studio prior, right? So that's something that we do to get reviews. Clients that we help with, and that seems to work really well.
Yeah, and if you we've run contests like this before where we gather a lot of reviews with Yelp. If you have more than a couple reviews come in on the same day or a big blast of reviews, Yelp will hide a lot of your reviews, or they won't post them in the top list. How does that affect Google? And if I got 10 or 15 Google reviews all in the same day, is that going to affect me in any way?
We haven't seen that. I know sometimes Google is strict with the accounts. Like if it's a really burner account, they might hide that specific review. But from what I've seen, most people don't trust Yelp. Yelp has gotten a really bad rap. So I think as long as you have a decent amount of Google reviews and you have a pretty good website, you can even put those reviews on your website as well. But yeah, we haven't seen anything get flagged too crazy. I think as long as you don't have like 100 reviews in an hour or something, that'd be a little bit crazy. But no, even if they do delete, even if you get 50 reviews, they delete 10 or something like that. I mean, you're still making progress. So we don't look at that too much, but I know our campaign has gotten a lot of reviews for clients.
Yeah, I kind of smile and joke a little bit when I talk about Yelp because I never ask for a Yelp review. I always ask for a Google review.
Yeah.
And that just helps us so much more. You know, our website is set up to kind of grab our reviews from Google anyway and cycle those through on our site. So that's kind of a nice touch that we have. But yeah, you know, adding those Google reviews, like I said before, that's when I ask students, what made you choose us or how did you hear about us? You know, almost number one is going to be Google or Facebook. And then, but why? Why did you choose us? And those reviews are super, super powerful. I think it's the best form of advertising that we can have is to have someone else talk about how much they enjoy our school and what they've benefited from it. What advice would you give to a brand new school owner who wants to grow fast but doesn't have a big budget?
Yeah, I think as far as somebody that wants to grow fast, I think you just have to have consistency. And you have to be doing a lot of things. I know we mentioned like digital marketing is one thing and it's great because it's fast, but you also want to be doing other things like events. You want to be getting in with the schools. You want to have a bunch of avenues that you're doing on a consistent basis. And then as far as the easiest way to grow fast, obviously it's going to be Facebook. Like normally our starting budget is like $25 a day. With $25 a day, which is about $750 a month, with that spend, you can probably get anywhere from like 30 to 60 plus leads a month, and from that you can get anywhere from like 5 to 20 leads, right? So even with a smaller budget, with like $750,000 a month, you can at least get 10 plus enrollment per month if you're doing it correctly, right? So that will help. And then, of course, adding in the referral system, doing all those other guerrilla marketing things. But the main thing is again, the biggest issue that owners have is starting. They just won't get started with something, right? Because they're doing a bunch of things that they don't want to invest in. Another big issue that I've noticed with some school owners is they don't even have a marketing budget. Like they don't even have $1,000 a month to spend on ads, or marketing in general, which is kind of crazy to me because, as you know, in any business, you need to have some sort of marketing budget. And you want to make that a priority because that's how you're going to get customers in. So, as far as that is you want to be doing at the beginning, you want to be trying everything out, and then you want to have a schedule where you can do those things consistently. Ads are going to help a lot, of course. That's going to help you get things going faster. But there's going to be a period where things are going to start and they're slow. But then once you're consistent enough, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you're going to start seeing that snowball momentum. And that's really what's going to make the biggest difference. Like what I've noticed is like the momentum aspect of it is going to be key when it comes to you growing fast. So we could have a school owner, running ads for a few months. They're adjusting different things, right? They're adjusting how they get people to show up. They're adjusting your sales process. They're making improvements, and then eventually you start seeing that big jump in enrollments and that big growth. So it all comes down from consistency, doing a bunch of different things when it comes to marketing, and making improvements and iterations as you go, and as you're building that momentum, so that you can get better and make things better. And I think that's a lot of people don't do that. They just put something out there, but they don't optimize it. Like, we've had instances where some school owners, they run ads with us, they get a bunch of leads, but they never work on the sales process. They're never like, how can get on the phone and call better, or how can I tighten up my sales process so I can close more people, right? And I think you're really leaving a lot of money on the table if you don't do that, because those are skills that are going to be with you until your school is open. So you need to be able to have those skills and make those improvements and make those adjustments so that you can get better and you can build more momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've brought it up quite a few times, that paralysis by analysis, right? Where we're trying to plan and think about what's the perfect attack instead of actually just moving forward. And I think you said something really key too, is that social media marketing, digital marketing is important, but it is only one piece. I mean, we have so many of these other avenues. Hosting events where maybe we're doing a mass enrollment, or have the opportunity to do a mass enrollment, doing a booth, the guerrilla marketing. I mean, I don't know about some of the schools out there, but I think that there's still a place for, doing VIP cards and doing flyers. And it's not the one thing that's going to get you the 50 students. It's the 50 different things that we're doing. And 50 is probably a really big number, but it's all of those things. And then, like you said, the momentum. I mean, I don't think that you're going to get, a dozen new students tomorrow by starting something new today, right? But if I build up that momentum over time, we're going to start seeing those months where you're having the bigger enrollment months because the consistency is there, the momentum is built up of doing multiple things.
Yeah,
let's talk about outside of marketing and ads. What habits or mindset shifts do you believe separate successful school owners from the ones who stay stuck? And of course, we've already talked about the, not starting. So is there anything else that you think that might separate successful school owners from the ones who stay stuck?
Yeah, I think the most successful school owners.
Oh, did I lose you?
Can you hear me?
That might be on my side.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Let me know if you can hear me now, or if you can hear me. Can you hear me or no? Okay, cool. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, so one of the biggest things that I've noticed is the most successful school owners are willing to try new things. And the school owners that stay stuck, they don't want to, they're not willing to try new things and make things better, right? Like all of the successful school owners that I've came up with, that we had as clients, and I was like, hey, can I, we're trying these new things. What do you think? They're like, let's try it, right? Versus the ones that kind of stay stuck, they're not willing to try those new things, right? So I think that humbleness of just being willing, like, hey, you are the expert. You've been doing research in this market. You've been testing things out. You get to work. Let's try to do it, right? And these corners that stay stuck, that don't want to try new things, they're not going to be able to adapt fast enough in today's market to be able to stay relevant, right? So that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed about the more successful corners is that they're willing to try new things, and they're willing to humble themselves. So they're like, hey, there's something I might not know, and this is going to help me in the long run, and this is going to build things up and help me get more experience, help me grow my school, right? So that's probably the biggest thing, and so many other limiting beliefs that people randomly have, right? Like my area doesn't work in my area, or like, oh, like this won't work. I tried this in the past, right? And we have a lot of that as well. When we work with some of these schools that have been burned by maybe some of these other agencies, where I can literally show them why our system is different and like how it's better and why this will solve the issues that they had in the past, and they just won't believe it. They're just like,
right.
So I don't know if this is gonna work. So I think just the ability to keep trying new things and the ability to keep testing things out and optimizing things, that's one of the biggest things that I've seen.
And there's definitely a parallel to that too, right? In martial arts, those martial artists that have done the same thing for their entire career, and don't branch out to learn or add to their system, right? I mean, and there's nothing wrong with being really good at one style of martial arts. But why not just get outside the box for a second and try to learn something new? I mean, we teach our students to have a white belt mindset and be willing to learn and be willing to adapt. If COVID taught us anything, if we didn't adapt or we didn't do things different than we've always done them before, there'd be, even though a lot of schools went out of business during COVID, there'd probably be a lot more that went out if we didn't adapt. So I think that is a really important aspect, just in mindset, is to be willing to learn. And it doesn't, just because you listen to something and doesn't mean you have to try everything. But if you're stuck at the same number of students for so many years in a row and you're not willing to try something new, I mean, if you're doing what you've always done, you're going to have what you always get. Maybe I messed that quote up, but I think everybody understands it. So anyways, yeah, I think that's all good advice. Man, this has been a really quick hour. Really enjoyed the conversation so far. I know that we've had a little bit of sound issues throughout on both of our ends. Somehow that just always happens when we're live. But if anybody has any questions, go ahead and drop your comments below, and we'll try to get to those before we finish. But Gus, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you just want to add in, whether it be about yourself or just about your company or what you do?
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, just my biggest advice for school owners is if you want to fix your marketing, you have to, number one, start, and then number two is analyze what you're doing and analyze where those gaps are, right? Like if it's a lead quality issue, you need to figure that out. If it's the no-show issue, if it's a closing issue, you need to be able to pinpoint those things. And I think if you can do that properly, like I know for a fact that if I can solve those issues, if I can solve lead quality, follow-up, and no shows for people, and they already have a good sales process, I know that they're going to get people. Because there's just no way that they can, right? So you need to be able to solve these issues, and you need to be able to adapt to the market. As we're going, know that things are going to get harder, know that you're going to have to get better, and be willing to learn and try new things. I think that's going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah, and there's a whole other discussion that would probably follow this if we were doing a seminar, but they say that there's no problem a school has that can't be solved with more new students, right? Yeah. But the one piece that we haven't talked about at all today would be the retention aspect and how to improve your retention over time. And so that may be a topic of conversation for another time, but getting new students in your school is a major part of what we do, but keeping them as long as we can, not only because it's good for our business, but it's because it's good for the students. The longer they train with us, the more benefits they receive. So if we don't have the A to Z process of after they enroll, then we're signing them up and losing them out the back door, and then you have this cycle of just a big funnel in and a big funnel out. So let's not miss that part of it too. And we don't have time for that discussion today, but something definitely to consider. Well, Gus, thanks for being on the show. I'm glad to have you here after all this time, after being on the show with you, Allie, and wish you guys all the best in all that you do. And if there's anything I can do to help, let's keep helping each other out and keep helping our schools out there keep growing.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me. Yeah, enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully the audio is pretty decent, and we can get it going, and people got value out of this. But yeah, thank you for having me on, and yeah, it was great.
Absolutely, guys. If you enjoyed this, please do us a favor, share the video. Go to Master Motivation Podcast on YouTube and subscribe for more upcoming guests. Got several more guests. I'm looking forward to having more people talking about WMAC Masters. As you heard the last couple guests talk about that. So maybe we'll have a roundtable coming up for that. Other than that, guys, make it a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next edition of Master Motivation Podcast. Take care, guys.